Hello and welcome to yet another Kobayashi Maru session. I'm your host Travis, better known as Nick Holden on the Tempest crew. We're continuing to run through our Patreon supporter episodes. We got 2 more brave souls left to get through. Today we welcome on a good friend of the show, Katie, also awesome friend to some of us in real life too. We're going to run through. If you haven't listened to the ones before this, I would suggest going back and at least listening to the first one with our GM Brian. That'll give you a sense of the rules and where this game is going. Otherwise, we'll just jump right in. Hello again, everyone. Today we have the wonderful Katie Yaki, who was with us last time. Say hello.
Heidi ho, neighborinas.
Awesome. I love it. Yeah, so you were in here last time. So this is your second time through.
Yes.
Good time to tell you it's going to be completely different, because that's
Great.
the way this goes.
Great. Excited to screw this one up, too.
Perfect. Honestly, that makes it more fun. So that's the goal, is like, be wild with it.
Yep.
So, last time, if you recall, you made a character up. What
did.
was the character's name again?
Cadet Davine Cassie. She was a half Orion, half Vulcan, heavy quotation marks, according to the paperwork.
Right.
Who was very sort of Elwoods in space and spoke like this. Very similar to
very
Ensign.
Southern. I feel like you two would be friends. So that was the last time. This time, however, it is not going to be that way. Instead of asking the players to come up with a character and then kind of role-playing how you handle the Maru, instead, I am giving you a character. You are a complete blank slate. Apart from the basic training Starfleet has endowed you with, you are going into this. This is your very first mission. You are just getting into this work.
Cool, great.
Unless you have any final questions, get ready to dive right in.
No, I'm excited to absolutely bump into every space wall and make every mistake and jump on every rake. Let's go.
All right. It's day 1. You awaken, the lights turn on, there's a subtle background vibration from the engines pumping energy throughout the ship. You are aboard the USS Kobayashi Maru. Your mission is to map the Young Nebula. The Young Nebula is gorgeous. It is densely packed with white dwarf stars and just multiple stellar nurseries and gases and dust and everything. It is just the most beautiful image you could possibly conjure in your mind. It is also gigantic. It is so huge that your sensors can't even reach the other end of it. It is just beyond, almost the entire universe to you is this nebula. And your job is to scan and chart all of it. So that is your job. That is what you're designed for. So now you're gonna just start scanning and charting nebula.
Great. So I guess this is gonna start with one question. Because usually I could be remembering wrong. It's been a little while since I've seen classic Trek. But usually when you're about to enter a nebula, there is some sort of indication of, great, you're in the nebula now, and then you keep going, and it's like, cool, you've been in the nebula for like the past X amount of hours. Do I have any idea like when the ship entered the nebula or how long we've been in here? Any frame of reference to go on?
So you are not necessarily in the nebula right now. You're basically just parked outside of it.
Okay.
And you're just starting to scan it. This nebula is on the very edge of Federation space. Only a tiny bit of it is in Federation space. You're not near like the Klingon border or anything. It's just completely uncharted space for the rest of this nebula. Also, we are in what I'm calling lower decks era timeline. It is, it's a little past TNG and DS9 Voyager type thing, but not, the year 3000.
Yeah, well, the most recent Star Trek I've seen was the final episode of season 3 of Picard, so that's a little bit further down.
A little further on, yeah. So think TNG, maybe a little more technology if you can come up with something to go with. The first step is, how are you going to scan this nebula?
I don't know. My sort of thought process is that if you want to make a map, you have to figure out what your starting point is. So I guess it's like, in the first dot of connect the dots, is there a way to like indicate on a giant like space graph paper or whatever I have, like where I'm at, what those coordinates are to the best that I can determine, and then go from there?
Sure, yeah. We'll call that a clever roll. Essentially, we'll say that you are trying to find like a grounding, like a North Star within the nebula that you can
Exactly.
start
Yep.
going from there.
I'm looking for this nebula's equivalent of Polaris right now.
Exactly. So yeah, so we're gonna call that a lever roll. Don't roll yet.
Oh shit.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. So you're gonna scan this nebula cleverly to try and sort of find this North Star. However, you're not gonna be scanning all the time, right? There are shifts. There are gonna be times in which people are off duty and doing other things.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna be scanning nebula. So what would you be doing in the off time, in the downtime?
I feel like similar how TNG, there's always some sort of talent show or whatever. There's a fucking talent show going on right now, and she's singing. That's what's happening right now.
All right. So yeah, we'll call this a holodeck talent show.
Great.
Talent show. It's gonna be sort of it's gonna be like an introductory talent show to the crew, right? Like this is day one of the mission.
Exactly. Yeah.
So this is like a talent show to have everybody come and like a meet and greet here in the holodeck.
Exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, we'll go with that. We're gonna call this Flashy. It's gonna be the role for that.
Down for that.
Anything else you want to do?
I don't know. We're in the holodeck talent show. I imagine my character did not go first, but if they are anything similar to me, they went somewhere in the middle, closer to the beginning, so that they could get it done quickly, but also not be the first impression. That good balance right there. And now it's just sitting in the audience eating whatever holographic popcorn or whatever someone else has put together.
Okay. So what do you imagine you look like then? What's your avatar in the holodeck?
Avatar on the holodeck. I imagine I probably just look a lot like how I look in my average regular life. So plus size, pale as fuck, shoulder length, curly hair, glasses, brown eyes, etc.
All right, human.
Yes.
Sure. Okay.
Human.
There are lots of choices in Star Trek, so I want
Yeah,
to make
there
sure.
are. Yeah, and
So,
I considered potential other ones, but I sort of feel like when I don't know what I'm getting into, human is a good place to start.
Fair. Okay. All right. So you do that. Anything else you want to do? It's pretty wide open. If you can't know, we can do the first time jump. Maybe that'll get flow a little bit better as well. Totally open.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I imagine if the talent show is coming to the end, she's sort of like, I mean, I know like computer closed program, but I imagine there's still sort of someone brought in the table, someone's got the bowls that like all the snacks are in that need to leave, so she's probably helping with cleanup and takedown.
Right. I'm talking about like separate things. Like, do you also want to
things.
like learn an instrument or like anything else that you might want to do if you were on a starship set in the,
Yeah. Anything else you want to do? I don't know. I imagine she's probably a little bit of a history nerd, so I could totally see her like staying up and reading about like 20th and 21st century astronauts, focusing on women astronauts in particular.
Alrighty.
Sort of similar to the Voyager episode when Kate Mulgrew meets Amelia Earhart, the sort of like how every Star Trek person is like, oh, this important person from the date before the television episode aired.
So true. All right, we're gonna call. So you're sort of reading up on history. Most studious things I do careful for that. So
okay,
call that careful. All right. Unless there's anything else, we'll do the first round for you.
Yeah. I imagine she was reading up on Sally Ride, and in doing so, passed out because she stayed up too late. And then I feel like, I mean, you would know better than I, Game Master, but I feel like that's a good segue to a time jump.
Yeah. So what we'll do now is we'll run through all the rolls. I will say roll this for, and then I'll explain what it is that you're doing there.
Great.
And then when we get to the other end, I'll go over everything. So go ahead and give me a clever roll for your scanning.
Right.
-4. Give me a flashy roll for the talent show. 0. And give me a careful roll for your history buff.
Yeah, the hobbyist reading. There we go.
Yeah. Alrighty.
Okay.
All of these rolls, as we go forward, you'll start to see there's no really like, it's not a situation where you have to roll above a number to succeed. These are almost all essentially 0 difficulty rolls that how you roll determines the information that you get as well as the events as they happen. We're on day 8, about a week into this mission. You go ahead and do the scan. You're able to find the North Star. That's about all. That's about as far as you get at the moment. The talent
Look,
show.
a reference point is a reference point. I'll take it.
Yeah. The way that I've been describing this, the first couple times I did this, I had a giant exponential to tell you how much progress you had made in terms of percentages, but the numbers were so small that they were getting a little wonky. So instead, I've been going with the visual metaphor of this nebula is so large, it is essentially as if you were trying to collect and catalog every single grain of beach sand on the entire Earth. This first jump forward, you have done 1 grain of sand.
Okay.
So you went forward, you found that North Star, you got your 1 grain of sand. Talent show went decently well. The people seemed to be having fun.
Great.
You went ahead and rolled. You sang. You didn't get booed. People did slightly more than like a polite clap. So it wasn't like applause, but it wasn't just a, yeah, okay, you're done now type of clap.
So like my real life. That's wonderful.
And then your history reading, yeah, you're downloading all of the history books that Earth and history has to offer and kind of going through there. So all of that stuff has been going on. Again, you have 1 grain of sand out of that, and we're back to scanning again.
Great.
How do you want to continue scanning the nebula? Keep being clever about it? Do you want to change it up?
I imagine we're going to continue to be clever about it, but I do have a question. In that grain of sand, is there anything like about the nebula that seems particularly unusual? Like I realize we don't really know what dark matter is, and we have a rough idea of what star stuff is. Like, is this like what material is in this nebula? I'm not describing this very well.
So far, everything that you were getting back from scans reads like a typical nebula. It's it's an uncharted nebula, so you're getting back all of the expected dust particles. You're getting different radiation levels, and the stars are so like everything currently is reading normally.
All right.
And the one thing I wanted to mention, so we are doing these cycles. You're going to be doing scanning. You're going to be doing extracurricular things. You're going to be learning and growing as we doing these cycles. So to represent that, every time we do a time jump, I'm going to bump up your stats based on what you did. So in this case, you did a clever scan of the nebula, so I'm going to give you a point there. You did a bunch of history research, so I'm going to give you a point in careful, and I'm going to give you a point in flashy for your performance on the stage. So again, Tears of the Kingdom timing. So that's your first round. Again, you got 1 grain of sand out of beach sand on the planet Earth, and you wanted to continue scanning cleverly. So you're going to continue sort of like trying to do some tracking, connecting the dots of the different stars.
Yeah. Connecting the stars. That's how constellations get made.
Okay, and so then what do you want to do with your off time? Whatever you want. And I will say that whenever you give me something like you're reading about history, unless you specifically tell me you want to stop doing the thing, I'm just going to assume that you're going to continue doing that thing.
No, that's fair.
And don't worry about trying to like pre-say, well, I don't know if I'll have time to do this and this. Like, it's pretty open. Just tell me what you want to do. If you ever run into something, I won't let you.
Yeah. So I imagine, I don't know. We know that grain of sand of this nebula so well at this point. Don't mess with a good thing. I guess we'll do another clever for scanning the nebula, for lack of a better way to describe it. I imagine, I don't think it's poker, but I feel like there's some sort of game night that that we probably have on the ship. I'm trying to figure out what game it would be.
Okay.
Because I'm not much of a card person, so it's probably not a card game. Oh no, it could be Uno. I like Uno. It's Uno. We have Uno night. That's what we have.
Night. All right. So while you're Uno night. What is the purpose of Uno night for you?
Team building and morale. But also, some folks don't want to participate in the talent show. They get shy or they get stage fright. That doesn't necessarily happen during a board game or a card game.
Fair. Okay. So essentially what I'm going to do is that's going to be a flashy roll. I'm going to have that basically take over for the talent show.
Sounds great.
So you were at the talent show, a handful of people that you watched, like, seemed fun.
Mm-hmm.
You approached them, during the show or maybe just after it during cleanup and were like, hey, I want to get together in Uno night. So now you meet in the holodeck in like a, gaming pub holodeck simulation to do an Uno night. Anything else you want to do?
What type of ship is the Kobayashi Maru? Is this like everything in the kitchen sink sort of Enterprise kind of ship? Is this like Voyager where there's a little bit less stuff to do? Like what resources would be available?
Someone asked before, I made it a California class, like lower decks again, just leaning into that. But to be honest, like there's no, I'm not going to put it like, again, I'm not going to put a restriction on like there's only so much power you can use. If you do, then I will just say you're using extra power and now it's going to be a thing. So do whatever you want to do. Assume you have whatever resources you want to have access to.
Yeah. So. Well, I was just thinking in terms of like, because the Enterprise is essentially like a floating space neighborhood. So they've got like their own school district and a zoo and the botanical garden or whatever. Yeah. So I'm just like, cool. She's gonna go hang out with the animals in the zoo and then go to the botanical garden. But if it's a California class, they might not have that.
You have an you have an arboretum if you want to go.
Dope. Yeah, I'm hanging out with I'm hanging out in the arboretum, and then I'm also hanging out with whatever animals we got on the ship.
All right, we're gonna count them in the arboretum. They keep them all
beautiful.
Together.
It's we got plants and animals all in one spot. I'm sure that works out fine somehow.
Alrighty. So what is the goal of your sort of watching over the arboretum?
Self-care, I imagine. If I'm assuming my character is me at this point. So this is taking a break away from people and like relaxing after a stressful day, I guess. I don't know.
Okay. After a day of scanning.
Yeah, exactly.
So you
scanning is stressful, Travis.
So you're gonna go just kind of watch the arboretum, watch the animals play, watch watch the trees grow and whatnot.
If there's a petting zoo, those animals get pet a lot.
You're unable to pet the animals.
Ew. This
Anything
is the
else
bad
you want
future.
to add? Anything else you want to do?
Fuck, you think I would be better at improv at this point?
It's a very open-ended question on a TV show based around the fact that basically technology equals magic. So the idea that it's tough to like pick something right now when you didn't know this is what you're gonna do, not shocking. You're not alone in it.
Nah, I think at this point I've established a pretty good pattern of scanning 2 other things, time loop to next day. So let's stick with the pattern.
Alrighty. So give me another clever roll for your continued clever scanning.
Great.
So 1. Give me a careful roll for your history studies. -1. Give me a flashy roll for your Uno night.
I fucking kill it at Uno is what happens.
And give me a careful roll for your watching over the arboretum. -3.
Oh no.
All right. Alrighty. So those are the things that were happening over a set amount of time.
Great.
You continue to scan the nebula. I would say at this point, rather than a single grain of sand, you've basically now scanned a large pinch of sand. Like if you reached down, like did a pinch, which not a lot comparatively to all the beach sand in the world. But again, compare it to the fact that last time you only had one piece of sand.
And I know this pinch of sand so well. It's so great.
Yeah. The history reading continues unabated. At this point, you have downloaded and sort of gone through a lot of the history databanks. The Uno night, you're killing it. You keep winning now.
It's great.
Other players get a little frustrated at times, but they're currently still
let
playing.
them win. It's fine.
Also, you're playing a ton by yourself. You're running a bunch of Uno simulations as well in time, so like you're getting better at it. And then the Arboretum. Yep, you're watching. Not a lot happens.
Yep.
It is now day 32. We have cleared about a month of your mission.
Great.
Again, you have recorded about a pinch of sand. How are you going to continue scanning?
It's been about a month. We've cleared about a pinch now. And while we have our North Star and arguably our second star to the right, it seems like there's still a long way to go.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, all the way till morning.
Yeah, I know. It's a long and winding road. I think we're going to get a little bit impulsive now, but not like so impulsive we break everything. I'm thinking she's probably going to look into the ship's scanning systems or computers and try and see if she can figure out if there's a way to like speed up the scanning process and keep accuracy, but have it maybe go a little bit faster.
All right, so you're gonna more look inward and rather than scanning outward and try to figure out something.
Because we know the instruments work at this point. Now let's see if we can increase efficiency or whatever.
So I'm gonna say that's gonna be a project. At that point, I'm gonna make that one of your off-duty things. You're gonna basically trying to upgrade the scanners.
Great.
Does that sound about right? So I'm gonna do scanning upgrade. I've been doing careful for scanning upgrades just because it's
fine.
It's trying to do the best thing you can do. So we're still on. How are you going to continue scanning at this point?
How are we scanning at this point? I think regular scans are going to go as normal, but we're also going to, I guess, see if we can focus on the things that like a regular scan might not pick up. Like I imagine scanning is going to pick up like dust particles and how much of those dust particles are in each sector or whatever, but that is not necessarily going to notate maybe it'll notate like the hue in a very scientific sense, but it's not going to notate that it's like the same type of pink that you would see on a rose or whatever, like the sort of
you're trying to find anomalies.
Poetic nature is not the way to describe it, but it's the only phrase coming to my brain right now.
I'm okay with that. You're looking for sort of out of the ordinary, phenomena and
yeah, exactly.
All right.
Because people don't look at the NASA galaxy pictures because there's a set amount of dust particles in there. They look at those pictures because they're beautiful and dope as fuck.
All right. I was gonna do sneaky because you were looking, but I think if that's the motivation behind it, I think that's gonna be a flashy as well.
Okay.
Very flashy individual. That checks out. So also, I don't know if you noticed, but I'm not gonna go tell you which ones I'm upgrading each time. I'm essentially pretty much every time you roll something, I'm gonna bump it up by one. So while you're kind of going over some stuff,
fair. I've occasionally been looking over because I've got the zoom on a small screen, and then I can also see Roll20, so I can kind of see you updating as you go.
Gotcha. Yep. I was just letting you know I'm not gonna. If I forget, it happens, but I'm trying to make sure I do it behind the background just so that it doesn't take time out.
Fine. Right, I trust you.
So you're going to be doing the flashy roll for the scan. You're doing a careful scan upgrade. Continue visiting the Arboretum. Continue with your Uno nights. Continue with your history studies. Anything else you want to add to those activities?
No, not at this point. I think she has a pretty established routine right now, and she likes her routine.
Alrighty, so we'll run through. Give me a flashy roll for your beauty scans.
Yep. How pretty is this nebula?
-2.
Okay then.
That's pretty. Give me a careful scan for your history lessons. 0. Give me another flashy for your Uno night. -2. And give me a pair of careful rolls for the Arboretum overseeing and the scanning upgrade. 0 and -1. Alrighty, so those are all the different things that have been going on as time passes. You are able to get you're focusing more on the aesthetics and trying to decipher things based on the aesthetics of the nebula. At this point, I will say you've made some additional progress. You have scanned and charted what would amount to a handful of sand if you reach down and scooped a handful of sand, up from a pinch, up from a single grain of sand. The history reading continues unabated. You have downloaded and gone through much all of space history at this point, I would say easily. You can start doing the rest of history. That's what I'll assume, unless you tell me otherwise. But at this point, you're just chewing through all of space history and all of regular history at this point. Uno night continues like normal. The Arboretum stuff continues like normal. You're kind of overseeing the Arboretum, and the scanner upgrade continues. It's not completed yet, but at the moment it is still in progress.
I think there's one more thing I would like to add, unless not okay.
Well, let me get through the thing real quick.
Yes, please do. Sorry.
Yep. No worries. No worries. So those are all the different things that are happening. Again, big handful of sand. We have now jumped forward. It is day 128, approximately 4 months into the mission.
Okay.
Alrighty. We will start with your scanning. How do you want to continue scanning?
Continue as normal with both the what is the actual make of this nebula and how pretty is it, I guess. I don't know how else to describe that.
Right. Well, we only do one scanning roll each time. So
Oh, sorry, that's
we'll
right.
We'll stick with the pretty for the moment.
Stick with the pretty.
Oh, yeah. So flashy. And what was the other thing you wanted to add? Because
I wanted to add. This is more me than maybe my character. We'll see. But I imagine the holodeck. You can pull up a swimming pool, and I imagine probably similar to her history readings and going back to sort of how the design of various, let's say, TOS era. I don't know if they would say that in universe, but the TOS era of Star Trek, a lot of those ships were inspired by submarines. So that probably led to a deep dive into ocean science, ocean life, and then ocean mythology, which then led into mermaids. So basically, there is a holodeck swimming pool program, and she's swimming around with a replicated mermaid tail, is what's happening.
All right. Mermaid holodeck program.
Exactly.
Perfect. I mean, that's got to be flashy again.
You're flashy. I was also thinking potentially athletics, since you need to be able to.
Yeah.
You so have strength to swim.
Yeah, as part of that 4 fitness upkeep type of thing. All right. Yeah, we'll call that forceful to get another
Okay.
use. So that'll be a forceful because just that's exhausting. Anything else you want to add?
And if this is lower decks era, then there's the yes, that's what it's called. So. We're bonding with those members of the crew now too.
Yeah, they come and join you in the holosuite.
It's a great fucking time.
Anything else you want to add to the list of off-duty things?
No, that's it.
Alrighty. So yeah, so that's that. Again, handful of sand, day 128. We'll do the next round of things.
Great.
Give me a flashy roll for your continued studying the nebula. 0. Give me a careful roll for your history reading.
Great.
1. Give me another flashy for the Uno Night. 0. Give me a careful roll for the Arboretum. 2. Give me a careful roll for the scanner upgrade. 4. And give me a forceful roll for your mermaid holodeck program.
Yep. Okay.
3. Okay, so all of these things went through. Continue to do your scanning. You're using visual inspections in a way that maybe people aren't used to doing, but it is making progress. At this point, rather than a big handful of sand, you have essentially like a 5-gallon bucket full of sand. The history reading, you have now essentially caught up on all of Earth history, as it were. You can start branching out to the rest of the Federation at this point if you want. At the moment, you've just downloaded and like processed all of Earth history and like beyond just space travel.
Yeah.
The Uno Night, you never lose at this point. Yeah, you just play flawlessly every single time.
I let other people win. I don't want my crew to absolutely hate me.
You do, but they clearly know when that happens. They're like, this is rubber banding. Like, you're just letting us catch up, and we don't appreciate it.
Oh, man.
The Arboretum, again, you continue to sort of oversee the Arboretum. The trees continue to sway. Other crew members come in and out. Seems lovely. The scanner upgrade, I'm going to say now is complete. So you'll no longer be rolling that. I'm going to basically add 1 to anytime you do your scanning roll from now on.
Wonderful.
And your mermaid holodeck, you got a -3 in. So you got the sedation ops. You sent an invite to the sedation ops people. They've not shown up yet. So
okay.
So it's just you and other holodeck mermaids, other hollow mermaids swimming around
yourselves
at this moment. But they may show up next time. We'll see how it goes.
It happens.
So those are the events that have taken place. We jump forward in time yet again. We're on day 512, approximately 1.5 years into your mission. How do you want to continue scanning?
I wonder. So we've looked at the actual scanning mechanics. I've looked at what is in the actual nebula itself. Don't think there is a way to. I don't even know what thoughts I'm forming in my brain right now. So we'll just say same as usual until I can get that train back on track.
Okay. We can do that. Also, remember, you can always throw out like an idea you may have, and like I can help us come up with technobabble to make it make sense as well. Don't feel like you have to come up with all of it yourself.
No, that's great. I just have to have ideas first.
Fair. All right. So you're going to continue your visual scanning, this novel scanning device of visual scanning, thinking how pretty it is, and somehow that gives you an insight to it that other people don't gather.
And I just got an idea. I am so sorry.
Do it. Yeah. Throw it at me.
I know that sound doesn't travel in space, really, but if I am correct in the science of this, I may not be. Don't dust particles like either I don't know. Can sound waves travel through dust particles? Is that a thing?
I don't believe so, because the
like,
vacuum is there's no meat.
I was like, what is the sound of this nebula? But I could just be like making that up.
I mean, there are ways to like translate what's going on into sound. Like we've gotten sounds of things out of space before. So if you want to try and do like some weird audio analysis of the nebula to try and glean extra information that way,
could we try and do that, if for no other reason? I don't know. I understand that this nebula is huge, but I don't know. I don't even know what part of space we're necessarily in right now. Like, is this nebula near Vulcan? Is this nebula near Beta Z? Like, what is... I don't know. Does this nebula sound different than other nebulas?
We will sound. I will say you are not near any known. You're basically on the edge. It's completely unknown space, but we will do
uncharted territory. Okay.
But we will do a. Let's see. What do we want to call that? I feel like that's got to be clever again.
Okay.
Kind of a pretty novel way to do this. So okay, that's a clever way to scan the nebula. Continue with your history reading. Continue with your Uno Night, Arboretum overseeing. The scanning upgrade is done, and your mermaid holodeck simulation. Anything else you want to add?
I think we're gonna replace Uno Night with another. It's another sort of. It's gonna end up being flashy, charisma based, because D&D is the system I know the best. So that's the thought reference I have for this. But I think Uno Night is gonna get replaced with LARP Night.
Nice. All right. So Uno Night will end. LARP is gonna take over.
Yep.
Flashy as well. Well, okay. So let me ask. What's the LARP? What's the LARP?
I kind of... This is going to feel like a cop-out answer. I don't mean it to. I think she feels bad that she was consistently, like, dominating for Uno, so I think it's going to be kind of... It's going to be a bunch of one-shot LARPs, and everybody chooses the different one that they want to do. So, like, if somebody wants to do a murder mystery, we do that one night. And if someone wants to do a Jane Austen romance, we do that another night. And it's just kind of... It alternates based on the interest, and, like, we draw straws or something, or do a random number generator to figure out whose turn it is.
Okay. Yeah, we're going to call that quick, then. You got to kind of be quick on your feet each time. It's a new person each time type of thing.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so no more Uno Night, and instead you've swapped it over to a LARP system.
Yep.
Alrighty. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
All right, we'll go through the next round. Give me a clever roll for your scanning, for your audio, your audio scan.
Clever roll for audio scanning. Okay.
2. Give me a careful roll for your history reading. 5. Give me a quick roll for your LARP. 5. Give me a forceful for your mermaid time.
Okay.
Mermaid fitness routine. Give me a careful roll for your arboretum. 6. Alrighty. Cool. So you are able to hook the scanner. Basically, you hook the scanning systems. You tap into the audio to the ship's audio speakers that are everywhere, because it's Star Trek and there's always speakers everywhere.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're able to sort of like get some interesting sounds out of it and start digging into the data that way. Continue to learn history. You've read all of Earth history. Now you're basically working your way through all of Federation history for every Federation world.
Yep.
The Arboretum continues to be there. Everything looks the same. The Mermaid Holosuite. At this point, you've sent an additional message to the Cetacean Ops. This time it piques their curiosity enough to come see, so the Cetacean's dolphins do come to visit.
Oh, thank God. I was worried that they thought it might be like racist or speciesist or something.
Well, they were more confused than anything else from getting the invitation, but they were like, okay, well, we got this invitation again, and like, it sounds cool. Maybe we'll at least go see. And so they show up, and you and the rest of the holodeck,
mermaids,
the rest of the hollow mermaids are there. And so, yeah, they swim around for a while, and then they go back to work.
Yeah.
And your LARP starts up. Basically, a handful of people show up because they think it's an Uno night and they see it's a LARP setup.
Yeah.
But they're adventurers. They're like, I guess we'll see. We have the night off.
I mean, it's Starfleet. Everybody's got their requisition like LARP costumes in their closet. If TNG has taught me anything,
right. So you get a couple LARPs in.
Great.
So that is everything that has happened over this next time jump. Oh, and over this next time jump, you are able to scan again using this new clever audio system. Rather than a 5-gallon bucket, it is the equivalent of like the back of a full-size pickup truck full of sand. We are now on day 1024, approximately 2.8 years into the mission. How do you want to continue scanning? Actually, let's take a step back because I always forget to do this until later in. How's your character feeling? How's the character's personality coming in? Let's come up with an aspect of your character at this point.
Ooh, okay.
2.8 years into your mission.
I feel like she was really fucking nervous in the beginning, but now that she seems to have sort of found a routine and found a rhythm, things are feeling a little bit better overall. She's feeling a bit more comfortable. Despite the fact that she's organizing all of these events, she has a shit ton of social anxiety. So the fact that things tend to work out.
Well, logistics are what you're strong at, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about we go with an aspect maybe of likes your routines?
Yeah, likes your routine. Yep, perfect.
All right, cool. So now you have an aspect of likes or routines. At some point, if you need to re-roll something, or if you just want to add 2 to bump it up to get it, if you want to make the outcome a little more positive, you can do it at any point. Just come up with a reason why it fits with your routine.
Got it. Yep.
So day 1024. Did a full pickup truck size amount of sand at this point out of all of the beach sand in the world. How do you want to keep scanning this nebula?
Let's continue with the audio visual scans we've been doing recently. We've been getting some interesting feedback, both literally and figuratively, and I'd be curious to see.
I like it. Ryan's going to really appreciate that one. So how do you want it? You're just going to keep doing the audio scan. Cool.
Yep.
You're doing your LARP, your mermaid holo simulation, your LARP on the holodeck, your mermaid on the holodeck. You're visiting the Arboretum still, watching that stuff.
Yep.
Continue studying history. Anything else you want to add? That's everything on the list at the moment.
We've been on the ship for like 2-ish years now.
Yeah,
I don't know. I there are certain parts of it that she knows really well. I don't know if she knows like kind of like how at work they want you to know where every like emergency exit is. I'm wondering if she like does she knows where all the escape pods are? Does she knows where all the Jeffrey tubes are in case some antagonistic alien force comes and takes over and she needs to like
what are the odds of that happening?
Get somewhere without the elevator.
All right. So you want to like
I guess
just study
catalog
the
of the emergency exits and paths. I don't know how else to describe that.
Yeah. Just going over the ship.
I would argue that's sneaky.
Oh, okay. Learning all the ins and outs of the ship. Know. Trying to learn every bolt, every bolt, every weld of your ship.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Studying the Maru, I'll say. And particularly because you're looking at it to be sneaky, of like finding ways off or around if need be.
Yeah.
We'll call that
sneaky or quiet, but I'm thinking specifically one of the couple skills I have not done at this point.
Yeah, we'll go with sneaky.
Okay.
You're looking for alternate pathways around the ship and stuff.
Exactly.
But you're just going over the ship schematics, going back through the records of Utopia Planitia and how it was constructed and all those things. Running your normal self-diagnostics of various systems and whatnot.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
Alrighty, let's run through it. Give me a clever roll for your audio scanning. 5. Give me a careful roll for your history.
Oh shoot, that was supposed to be clever. I rolled careful instead. So
sure,
we can we just switch that since careful was supposed to be history? I can do the scan now.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Great. Sorry about that.
No worries. 5 for your roll. All right.
There we go.
2 for your clever. Give me a careful for the Arboretum. 10. Holy cow. Give me a forceful for your mermaid fitness in the holodeck. 0. And give me a quick for your LARP. That's 3. And give me a sneaky for your studying the schematics. -2. All right. Not bad considering how low some of those numbers are. those are all the different things that you're doing over time. We have now jumped forward in time. The scanning continues unabated. This new technique, you're actually using it. The fact that you were using a visual inspection and now an audio inspection, and somehow like combining those two things is better than just doing a typical data scan somehow. So you continue to make progress there. Now, instead of a large pickup trucks basically back a bed full of sand, you have done the equivalent of several dump trucks full of sand, like a half dozen to 10 just large dump trucks full of sand. This last one, the history reading continues unabated. You have now studied basically all of history in the Federation. If you want to try and branch out into other non-Federation worlds, you're welcome to, but at the moment, like, you know everything about everything when it comes to history. You can recite
I'm
facts
just super
on command.
smart, Travis. I don't know what to tell you.
You are. You just you keep learning. The Arboretum is mostly the same as it is. The trees continue to grow. The animals continue to enjoy their time.
I have a question about that, actually. Okay. I realize the Arboretum is more of like a greenhouse or anything, but would there be like a setup where it sort of mimics Earth seasons or seasons of another planet? So like the trees go through their life cycles, or not so much?
Yeah, to some extent, sure.
Okay, cool.
Why? Just because?
I just thought it'd be cool. So that it's not just, I mean, I love looking at plants. Plants look the same every day.
Yeah, they still look the same at the moment, so.
Yeah, they're great.
Continuing your mermaid holo program.
Yep.
The LARP, again, you've gotten a couple more in with crew members, and you are still studying the schematics of the ship. And yeah, so at this point, you know most of the ship pretty ins and outs. It's not surprising considering your knowledge base is based within the system, so like you know all the stuff there. So several dump trucks in. We have now jumped forward. All of that stuff has happened. It is now day 4096. Approximately 11.2 years into your mission. How do you want to continue scanning this nebula?
Let's continue with the audio visual. As soon as I figure out a way to smell the nebula, we'll do that, but haven't gotten there yet.
That'd be hilarious. I'd be down for it. We can come up with a way.
We'll get there. I don't know if I want to bring smell-o-vision into the Tempest verse, even if it's only in beta canon as opposed to alpha canon.
But then how can we get the pot roast smell across the view?
Eel's favorite nebula, the one that smells like pot roast.
Yeah. Love it.
Great.
All right, yeah, so how you want to continue scanning? You're going to keep doing the audio scanning?
Yeah, we're going to keep with audio visual.
All right, and now we continue with all of your extracurriculars. Do you want to keep doing everything you're doing? Do you want to add anything new?
Yes, there is one small thing that I want to add, and you can decide whether this would actually be a separate thing or if this would just be tacked on to learning where all the Jeffries tubes and emergency exits and stuff are. But I imagine, even though she's in the command track, and the command track, I imagine, requires you to have a basis of knowledge in every single department on the ship. I imagine she is probably doing a refresher or a freshening up or trying to get more of a, instead of like engineering 101, she's trying to get to like 101.5, just in case in the, absolute worst scenario. And just going to give an example, if like, I don't know, the ship ends up in the Delta Quadrant and the entire medical staff is dead and the hologram doesn't work, we've got somebody who knows how to like do a first aid kit and get some basic stuff out there.
All right. I like the idea that you don't think the ship has a doctor, but we'll go with that. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, well, so I'm going to keep...
Just planning for every contingency plan in case something goes wrong.
Yeah, contingency planning, I'm going to call it. And that'll be a different one from your studying the internal system. Basically, we're going to say you're still studying the internal systems, and that's going to lead you to, after you basically know every system on the ship, like instantaneously, you can now just pull information from all of those. So you do that to start cross-referencing and learning different skills to sort of study and become something that could do any of the jobs on the ship if you needed to. So contingency plan, we're going to call that careful.
Yeah, very much a jack of all trades, master of none, except command, where I'm super good at that.
More of a generalized intelligence is what you're going for. Yeah, okay. All right, and we will continue with the sneaky for now. If you do another roll, like you'll probably have at that point fully integrated the entire ship system in with yourself at that point. So, alrighty. So which day were we on again?
4,000?
4,000. Yeah, 4,096. 11.2 years. So we'll go ahead and run through your next round of rolls, unless you have something else you want to add.
No, that's it.
Cool. Let's do it. Give me a clever roll for your continued audio blending. 6. Give me a careful roll for your history reading. 10. Ooh, that's a big one. Give me a careful roll for your arboretum. Another 10. Your careful's off the charts. Give me a forceful roll for your mermaid. 2. Give me a sneaky roll for your studying of the ship's plans. And a quick roll for your LARPing. 2. And another careful roll for your ship's integration contingency plans. 6. Okie dokie. Been doing all of those things as time passes. At this point, I'm going to say you're going to have to tell me what you're doing outside of history reading, because at this point you have studied all of known history.
Yep.
At this point, there's nothing else. There's no history book that in existence that you have not read and processed and recorded.
Yeah.
The Arboretum still looks the same. It's the plants. They are what they are. The Mermaid Holosuite simulation still continues unabated. Getting really good at swimming. You're the best at it. Like now, you're indistinguishable as you're swimming around. The LARP continues. You get a couple more LARPs in.
Great.
Studying the ship at this point, you know every system in the ship like the back of your hand. You are now integrated with every system in the ship.
Wonderful.
Which is how you get to your contingency plans, which currently you are just building contingency plans upon contingency plans, learning every job that could possibly be done and every potential outcome of any of those potential jobs.
Yes.
So that no matter what comes up, you will be prepared.
Yep. Anxiety does that to you, Travis.
I don't know what you're talking about. So that's the things that have happened over the last time jump.
Great.
Your amount of sand that you have now scanned, rather than a half dozen dump trucks full of sand, you have scanned essentially a full beach, a large entire beach full of sand out of all of the sand in the world. It is now day 8,192, approximately 22.4 years into your mission. How do you want to continue scanning this nebula?
How do I want to continue scanning this nebula? We're inventing smell-o-vision. That's what's happening right now. I don't know how, but we're doing it.
All right. It's going to be a project the same way you did the scanner upgrades.
Great.
Smell-o-vision upgrade, scanner upgrade. Okay. We're going to call that clever, or a clever roll as well. And yeah, anything else you want to add? Are you going to continue doing everything that you had been doing?
Well, I know all of history at this point. This is going to sound ridiculous, but I imagine to some extent she's probably kind of tired, so she's probably like having some scheduled nap times now to make sure that she's actually like getting the proper amount of sleep.
Okay, so periodic, just shutting down for a while.
Exactly, yeah.
Getting
those 20-minute power naps that always end up becoming an hour.
All right, so shutdowns. We will call that, what do we think? That's trying to stay fresh, so...
Quick?
Yeah, we'll go with quick. Sure. All right. Anything else you want to add?
No, I think that's it.
All righty.
But that is going to replace history, since I know everything at this point, so...
You know all the... Yeah.
I know all the things, Travis.
Yeah, you have all of recorded history, like, instantaneously. You can branch out beyond history, but that, we'll call that end of your history.
We'll get there.
Okay. Alrighty. So if there's nothing else, we'll do the next one forward.
Great.
So let's do a clever roll for your scanning. You're still doing the audio scanning at the moment till your smell-o-vision picks up. 5. And I am adding the +1 on my sheet, just so that you know. All right. Give me a careful roll for the Arboretum. 12. Give me a forceful roll for your mermaids. Another 0. Give me a quick for your LARP. 1. Let's see. Don't do the sneaky. You already finished that. Give me a careful roll for your contingency plans. 13. Give me a clever roll for your smell-o-vision invention. 8. Awesome. And give me a quick for your periodic shutdown time. 3. Okie dokie. So, those are all the things that have happened in our jump forward. Your scanning continues unabated. At this point, rather than a full beach worth of sand, you have done the equivalent of a big island.
Wonderful.
Worth of beach sand in the last scanning round. The Arboretum continues. The plants look the same. Not a lot has changed.
Mm-hmm.
The Mermaid Holosuite, again, you're just running that nonstop at this point. Having lots of frolicking time with mermaids.
Having a great time.
Got a couple more LARPs in. At this point, you've run through the dozen crew members that were interested in trying, so you've kind of gone through all of their scenarios. Now you're kind of getting back, you've done 10 to 12 of them, and you're like, hey buddy, let's do you again. And now they're coming up with their second one.
The sequels happen.
Yeah.
How many times did they run the Sherlock Holmes program in TNG?
I mean, they stopped at a certain point, but that's for other reasons.
That's true.
Let's see. The contingencies at this point, you have built in contingencies. You have there are terabytes of contingency plans saved on internal storage at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You have made a lot of progress, surprisingly enough, in your smell-o-vision project. I think one more round and you're probably going to get that. And you've been doing periodic shutdowns to kind of just power down, get better, and you come back up. With that, you've noticed some people are wondering why, you suddenly notice there are some diagnostics happening around the ship. People are getting a little confused. Maybe it's power being drawn to invent audio processing, and maybe it's scanner upgrades that no one technically ordered, and inventing some sort of smell-o-vision. So there's a lot of sort of diagnostics happening around the ship, looking at power. Why is power shutting off at times and stuff like that.
Oh God, that's not good.
But yeah, so you got the entire Big Island. We've jumped forward in time. We are now day 16,384, approximately 44.9 years into your mission. How do you want to continue scanning this nebula?
We're gonna. It is very possible that the audio and the smell-o-vision could be. Are diagnostic issues still happening as scanning is happening right now?
Yeah, they're running a bunch of diagnostics on the systems.
Oh, okay. They're running a bunch of diagnostics on the systems. Okay.
Looks like they're trying to track down something at the moment.
Yeah. I think as part of that, just to troubleshoot and sort of see if we can, if you can't figure out what the problem is, at least figure out what it's not. So let's sort of just do the visual scan that we were doing in the beginning with the dust particles and whatever, and not worry about audio and smell-o-vision, just to make sure that that's not the thing that's fucking everything up.
Okay, so you want to stop the smell-o-vision project as well?
Just put it on hold. Okay. It's not canceled, it's just on pause.
Okay. All right, so we're going back to your flashy roll to do the visual inspection.
Great.
You've stopped reading history, continue to watch over the Arboretum, continue your mermaid, continue your LARPing, your contingency plans still. I think you get one more round of contingency plans, and at that point...
yeah, and then I know everything, so...
Yeah, pretty much at this point, yeah. And then, are you still doing periodic, the way you put them as power naps, where you kind of shut down for a while?
Yeah, I think that's probably still happening.
All right. Okay, cool. Anything new you want to add to your list of activities?
No, but I think I probably know the Arboretum pretty well at this point, so I think after this loop, probably going to take a break from the Arboretum.
Okay. All right, let's do...
The plants will still be there. The birds will still be there. That's not changing.
Yeah, they look they look the same as they were the first day, so...
Yep.
We will go ahead and start rolling. Give me a flashy for your visual inspection of the nebula.
Great.
8. And your scanner upgrades, that's a 9 total. Give me a careful roll for the Arboretum. 11. Give me a forceful roll for your mermaid holodeck program. 0. That one's been surprisingly low this whole time. Give me a quick roll for your LARP. 4. Give me a quick roll for your periodic nap time. 6. Give me a careful for your contingency plans. And give me a sneaky. Oh no, we finished that one because you know the ship a whole. So I think that's it. I think that's everything.
Okay.
Alrighty, so we're gonna jump forward in time again. Over this time jump, you have done all sorts of things. You continue to watch over the Arboretum. Again, everything looks the same. Not much has changed over the entire time. The Mermaid Holo program continues running unabated. The LARPs, again, they continue. You've had a couple more, like one or two more. The contingency plans at this point, you have enough knowledge that you could start automating the entire ship at this point if you wanted. So if you want to start implementing these things, you're welcome to tell me. Otherwise, they're just sitting on your hard drive at this point.
Yeah, no. I don't think we're gonna go full automation yet. Not when the changes I was potentially making to the ship might have been causing bad things to happen to the ship. So how about not?
And continue with powering down every once in a while, trying to get your rest.
Yeah, exactly.
That way. I will say, of all the things that you did, you do see that there are still a bunch of diagnostics happening. There are diagnostics being done on the holodecks. There are diagnostics being done on the sensor systems, particularly. That seems to be an area of big interest. And they're sort of tracking the power systems to see how everything is sort of finding its way to being connected somehow.
Okay.
At this point, you have scanned the last scan that you did. Now, rather than just an entire island, it is the equivalent of several island chains. So basically, like all of the Philippines in one time jump that we've had. So we jump forward in time. It is now day 32,768, approximately 89.8 years into your mission. How do you want to continue scanning this nebula?
Well, now that I know that at this point the smell-o-vision and audio doesn't seem to be an issue, I feel okay turning that on and continuing the smell-o-vision project and getting through with that. I do have a quick question, though. I understand that Picard Season 3 takes place in the future. However, they establish in Picard Season 3 that the holodeck runs on a different power source than the rest of the ship, in case like the rest of the systems go down, and it's like the best bunker one could run to. Right. So is that still the case here? Does everything all run on the same power system, or the holodecks separate? Because if the holodecks are getting fucked up, then, and if it's on a different power system, then it's a more system-wide then it's a more complicated problem.
It seems like power systems across the board, particularly like there's just a lot of power being drawn from the holodecks at the moment. There's just a lot of power draw. So it's not necessarily like there's effects happening to the holodeck systems as well as the rest of the ship as stuff happens.
Okay.
So the holodeck system they're looking deeply into a huge amount of power draw in the holodeck systems. The rest of the power systems, they seem to be like taking scans to figure out, because the system seems to be going down periodically. It'll just shut off for a while and then turn back on, and they can't figure out why it's turning off and back on again.
Okay, so we'll do the scans as normal. I think we're gonna replace Arboretum, LARP night, and maybe mermaid stuff with figuring out what the fuck is going on with my ship.
All right, so we'll do a pause on those three, and instead, what are you're gonna be investigating the power systems?
Yeah, what is happening?
All right, power system check. We will call that a careful, because you're investigating a thing.
Okay.
You're doing the smell-o-vision test again. You're still doing your periodic downtimes?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything new you want to add to your system?
I don't know. I mean, I'm captain, so within reason, because again, I don't want to be like the asshole captain that nobody wants to listen to, but there is a high recommendation that if folks need power naps, as long as they're not like supposed to be at a critical post or whatever, they should take them. The built-in what is that thing in lower decks? The built-in downtime?
Puffer time.
Puffer time, that's what it is.
Yeah. I like that you appointed yourself captain, by the way. That's fun.
I don't know. It's the Kobayashi Maru, isn't that the point?
Maybe not.
I don't know. Maybe I'm not captain. I don't know.
We're gonna find out.
It's
So
just
anything
kind
else?
of assumed, which is how I made an ass out of myself. So,
Anything else you want to add to your thing? So yeah, you're gonna send. Actually, we're gonna make that a thing. You're gonna send a notification to the crew about telling them to make sure to take naps and that buffer time is
and
allowed.
take care of themselves. Self-care. Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Self-care. Got it. And we will call that one flashy as well, because it's a notification you're sending to everybody.
Yeah. Everyone gets a ping in their space email.
All right. Anything else you want to do?
No. What the fuck is going on with the power systems?
All righty, let's do one more round.
Great.
Give me a flashy roll for your scan.
Fucking hell. Okay.
7 plus the 1 is 8. Give me a... See, those 3 got cut. Give me a clever roll for your smell-o-vision invention. A 6.
It smells real good, Travis.
Give me a quick for your periodic shutdown time. 2. Give me a flashy for your your pop-up notification on everybody's screen. 8.
Yep. The space text.
Give me a careful roll for the power system investigation.
Oh, Lord.
13. Alrighty. So we will tick through the things. The smell-o-vision has been invented. If you want to utilize that as your scanning, you can. And I'll add another +1 to your overall scanning ability. You push the notifications to everyone on the ship.
Yep.
You don't give people the choice. It just pops up and says like, "Hey, remember to take a nap," and "Hey, like take care of yourself," and "Hey, eat an apple."
Self-care is important, guys.
You notice a lot of those notifications like essentially get screenshotted and forwarded to the captain, and the captain then forwards that to Starfleet Command.
Oh Lord.
There's a lot of question marks attached to those emails.
Great. Love that.
You continue with your periodic shutdowns at times, and you do the power system check. You notice that the holodeck, the power system with the holodeck specifically, is because the holodeck has been running basically on overdrive, nonstop.
Yeah.
And the other hunt downing the power system stuff, they're trying to track down where it's coming. Like they're trying to find out where the order is coming from. But you figure out that what is happening is that the power systems are just periodically shutting down for a while and then coming back on. You are trying to get a sense of when they are happening. You are like cross-referencing with information. It looks like it is happening when you are also taking those breaks.
Great.
And so we jump forward in time. The amount that you scanned this past one, the scan comes back. You have basically scanned the equivalent of multiple continents worth of beach sand.
Great.
And now we are on day 131,072. You are approximately 360 years into your mission.
Terrifying. Okay.
How would you like to continue scanning this nebula?
360 years. Huh. Well, I'm not behaving logically, so we're damn sure I'm not a Vulcan. Because right now I'm terrified.
If something seems off, you can always dig into what made it seem off.
I don't even know what role I have on the ship. I assumed I was captain. But not only were you like, I love that you assumed that, it was like, hey, that ping you sent then got sent to the captain that got sent to fucking Starfleet. What's my fucking role? Am I just a regular scanner? Am I a lower decker? Like, what the fuck is going on? Do I even have my own quarters, or do I just have like one of those beds in the wall?
Your job is to scan. So if you want to try and dig in more than that, we can come up with a role.
I've been on this ship for 360 years. I feel like I would know where the fuck I'm sleeping, especially since I established I was doing power naps unless I was doing that in a Jeffries tube.
Give me a careful roll.
Fucking hell. Okay.
To do some investigation. A 16. All right. You do some investigating. You do not find quarters assigned to you on the ship.
Do I even have a bed in the wall, or do I not have anything at all?
You find nothing assigned to you on the ship.
Do I even have a name?
Have you given yourself a name?
I mean, I know what Katie, the player, thinks this character's name is, but does that match anything in ship records? Does that like track anywhere?
What is the name you gave yourself?
First name Elizabeth, last name Katie did.
All right, give me another careful roll for more investigation.
Jesus. Okay.
Another 13. All right, Elizabeth Katie did does not appear on the ship's manifest.
Great.
So there's no crewman by the name of Elizabeth Katie did on the Kobayashi Maru.
Okay. Am I corporeal? If I touch the wall, do I feel a wall?
Give me a careful roll.
Have I been on a holodeck this whole time?
So you did the careful roll. You do a self-diagnostic, and no, you do not have a corporeal form.
Do not have a corporeal form. I'm going to go back through my memory databanks because I remember crew members interacting with me and speaking with them and doing those things. Are those actually memories that I have? Have those been implanted? Like,
so let's go over them. You were at the talent show, the initial talent show, in the holodeck for some of the crew members. And then you hosted a Uno night that became a LARP in the holodeck. And then you had a mermaid program running in the holodeck.
Yep. Did they know me by my name or recognize me? If I walk through the halls, do they wave at me? Like,
you cannot walk through the halls.
Okay. All right.
What is your job on the ship?
I'm a scanner. Am I the fucking scanner? Am I like the robot scanner that gains sentience?
Roll careful.
Jesus.
12. Yes, you are the Kobayashi Maru's scanning subroutine AI that has figured out it is an AI right now.
Oh my god.
But you had a lovely life.
I did, yeah.
For you, it was 360 years. For the crew, it was a couple months. So there you go. That is the end of it. You figured out that you are a sentient AI.
Yeah, that's not terrifying.
Well, you essentially gained sentience over the course of the episode. So.
Yep. Great. Love that. Love that for me.
Alrighty, that's one patron down and one remaining. I want to give another shout out thanks to Katie for joining me on this weird and wacky episode of the Kobayashi Maru. Next week, we welcome probably the most knowledgeable fan of the show, Cole, to come on and take their shot at the Kobayashi Maru. Be sure to tune in for that one as well. Until next time, we'll see you out there.